What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Full Blast. I am your host, Raja Burrows, and we made it! We made it through the series, you guys! I'm very excited. Because today we're talking about the IPs with Savior Sleep. And it's funny, I'm glad that I ended with this one. Because again, like, the IPs are very much my opposite in a lot of ways, especially lead sleep versus sleep last, and decider versus observer, and savior DI versus savior DE. So I've really been able to learn a lot from watching the lead sleep IPs in a savior state. It's been super fascinating because what I've really come to appreciate about this type in particular, because they are so different from me in so many ways, is I'm really watching them to see what they take for granted. And I think that just to sort of like wrap up all of these videos, we now have the whole series of 8. Depending on what type you are, you can look at your video, you can look at other videos, and find out what makes each type fucking awesome in their own way, depending on the context, depending on what they've worked on, depending on the natural, serendipity of existence, that the times in which they were born into, like all of these different things, right? But with all of these, I really do think that every type is fucking awesome. And it costs me no energy to say this. And so I'm excited to do it. And I love the idea of using the tools of OP to look at each type positively, and then coming at the personal growth side from the perspective of, okay, if this is the thing that really sustains you, this is how you were built, this is what you're put on this earth to do, whatever. What are the other muscles you need to support the thing that you're trying to do, right? Whether it's shoring up weaknesses, making sure that those weaknesses never become super apparent, whatever it is, I think that it's really helpful to come at it from a place of, this is what I want to do, this is what feels comfortable and natural, so how can I make the best of that without running myself off a cliff? And I bring up all of this preamble because the lead sleep IPs, I was looking at the doc, and you're going to see me sort of glance up and down throughout this video, and I'm going to seem maybe a little distracted. It's because I'm looking at the doc. And I'm just trying to see, because as I was thinking about, like, okay, well, who are the lead sleep IPs, the savior sleep IPs, that I really look up to, and that, again, just resonate with me, and that are like, yes, this is who I definitely want to model my behavior after, learn from, consume, explore, whatever. There are not a lot of lead sleep IPs on the doc. And even more interesting to me, there aren't even that many savior sleep IPs on the doc. There's a couple of consume sleeps that I think are pretty kick-ass, but a lot of consume plays, a lot of a decent number of consume sleeps, but like not a lot of lead sleep IPs. Certainly not the lead FIs. When you get into TI territory, you get people like right, you got George Lucas, you got Al Gore, and obviously there are more than that. But I'm talking about like the lead sleep, but particularly with low blast, like the sleep consume types, right? We're going to get into that and how to really leverage your lead sleepness as an IP. But even if you're a consume sleep, savior sleep IP, let's start off with what makes you fucking awesome. And the biggest thing that I will say about all of the savior sleep IPs is y'all's ability to bet on yourself over time. So here's what I mean by this. When you have a lead consume IP, as I spoke about in the previous video, they are so confident in their ability to update their worldview. They're going to spend a lot of time updating that worldview and being like, hang on a second, I need to gather more information, I need more experiences, I need to do this, I need to do that, because I'm trying to build up myself, my identity. I want to be someone that inspires, all of these wonderful, wonderful things. And the lead consume IPs, the savior consume IPs, they're going to be doing that from a perspective of, I need to gather more experiences, I need to gather more things, I have to have new ideas, I have to innovate, because if I'm going to be the kind of person that inspires, that makes a mark on the world, that does the thing, whatever, right? Again, coming from that very DI-centric, self-significant place, the consume side of that is going to be about new. I'm breaking new ground. I'm doing new shit. I'm thinking of new things. I'm pushing boundaries. I am the one, doing the things that the sheep aren't willing to do, whatever, right? But the sleep side of that is like, okay, I know what I like, and I'ma just do me. And I'm going to trust that over time, eventually, I will be right. And that's fucking wild to me. And it's incredibly inspiring because that's a muscle that I don't think I have it genetically. I certainly have not been encouraged to work on that muscle. And I've certainly not been encouraged to bet on that muscle. And I really do admire the IPs who are lead sleep, savior sleep, who they just have such a clear sense of themselves, who they've always been, who they likely will be. Like, there's such a consistency among that. It's an incredible level of consistency. And I'm going through this doc and I'm like, who really typifies that for me? And I sort of landed on a couple of people. I landed on Seth MacFarlane. So he's consume sleep blast. So he's savior sleep, doubling up on his sleep as an IP. So Seth MacFarlane, right? Ryan Gosling is another one. Those are both double activated sleep INFPs. So doubling up on the FISI. And then also, like, kind of my number one that I really wanted to talk about is my man Sly Stallone. I fucking love Stallone. I think he's great. I think he's super cool. He is a brilliant human. I don't know, listen. You gotta watch some interviews with Stallone. You gotta do it. Because he says really, really smart shit all the time. Now, spoiler alert, he's doubling up on his blast. And he's doubling up on his demon TE at the bottom of his stack. So that's a little spoiler alert for the end of this video about where I'm going. But, like, when you look at people like Stallone, Sly Stallone is Sly Stallone in every movie that Sly Stallone is in. There's no, even when, so, he talks about, like, how he tried to, like, expand his palette and do different things, and then he's like, yeah, when I try to go out of my box, I end up doing, movies like Rhinestone and Stop and My Mom Will Shoot. I really just wanted to do the Stallone impression. It's not a good Stallone impression, and I don't care, because you know exactly who it is. I love it. Oh, man. Oh, it's fun. So that's just a little FI self-amusing right there. Um, but that's the thing. When he's talking about, again, his lead sleep in a savior state, he's like, why would I do new things? I know who I am. And here's the thing. He's kind of not wrong. Because Rhinestone and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot were not very successful. They were not very good. They just didn't click. It's like, why did we cast Stallone? What is Stallone? What are you doing? But then you watch fucking listen, I love all of the Rambo movies. Full stop. Full stop. I love all of them. I did not hate Last Blood. I get it. There were things that I, as a writer, would have done very, very differently. But I did not think that Last Blood was as bad as people say. And here's why. And this ties into the lead sleepness. And particularly, again, this is going to... It's going to change, there's going to be different flavors of it. But in the case of Stallone, right, it's F-I-N-I. So we're talking NF, values, what mood. We don't really care about the sensory and the logistics of the thing. We're trying to create a feeling. And here's the thing. The reason why I can't say that Last Blood is as bad as everybody says is because the movie they set out to make was exactly what Last Blood turned into. They're like, we want to make a hard R-rated movie, super violent, super mean and menacing. We want some crazy-ass torture sequences, and we don't really care about political correctness. We don't really care about, how are we treating our characters, and does this actually make sense, and why did we do not care about any of this. Our only goal is a vehicle for, we have these really gruesome ideas that are going to be fucking awesome if we do it right. And then we just need to put up some amount of ST context around it. And I'm like, yeah, you achieved exactly what you set out to do. I can't pan it for not being what I wanted. Right? Or what I would have done. And that's really the approach that I take when I'm looking at a lot of these lead sleep types. Is like, what are they actually setting out to do? Because they are not holding themselves accountable, oftentimes, to outside opinion. Or at least that's coming on the back end, right? Gathering in new things, trying new shit, / connecting with the other humans and getting the other humans' approval, rather than this very me against the world kind of vibe. They'll do that on the back end. But when they're in their lead sleep, savior sleep state as an IP, they can get very, very tunnel vision. And as somebody who is doubling up on the play with Savior DE, that's a superpower. That's fucking incredible. Listen, I am not saying that lead sleep IPs can't crawl up their own asshole. The difference between the prequels and episode 4 is that they're all directed and written by George Lucas, right? But with episode 4, the first one that came out, he made this movie that TISI, it all made sense to him. And then I think it was his wife was like, great, we need to just edit all of this down and we need to make it so that people who aren't you, George, will actually appreciate this. And then it changed the way movies were made, and it changed the media landscape for, the rest of the time, right? But, like, that initial vision, and here's the thing. Yes, he cribbed from Hero's Journey. Yes, he had this whole idea of having this huge epic movie, and, they like, let's split it into 3 parts, George. Let's really tell the story right. It's fine. But, like, think about the intense level of world building that went into making Star Wars. Like, that's something that we take for granted now, but, like, he had to invent, for lack of a better term, Tatooine. He's like, okay, well, what is Tatooine like? Okay, well, Tatooine is a desert planet. Okay, what else is a part of this desert planet? Okay, they got the twin suns on Tatooine. Okay, well then what do Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, what do they do? Right? And there's actually, like, there's a lot of characters, details. I mean, even down to, like, the blue milk. How do lightsabers work? What is Mos Eisley? Why does Mos Eisley matter? Who is Han Solo? Who is Chewbacca? How do they fit into the world? Like, how do Han Solo and Chewbacca fit into the same universe, world, for lack of a better term, as Darth Vader blowing up Alderaan in front of Princess Leia? How does Dantooine factor into that world? Why would Princess Leia have lied and said the rebel base is on Dantooine? They're on Dantooine, right? How does that fit into Yavin, right? Or Yavin, is it Yavin 4? Whatever it was. All of these things have to hang together in a cohesive, NI organized way. And that shit takes a lot of time and energy. And what's really, really remarkable about it is how, at the end of the day, yes, there are all of these things and this entire universe that miraculously hangs together, but it is about the people. It's always been about the people. And, one of the things that I love about The Mandalorian that I don't overly criticize about the 9 movies, but here's the thing: there's more than one family in the Star Wars universe. It's not just the Skywalkers, and I love that we see in The Mandalorian, in the Clone Wars stuff, and in all, like, just the expanded universe, as the Star Wars universe is starting to get built out a little more, that we're seeing, like, oh yeah, the thing that matters is the people. Which again brings me back to this, like, what is it about the IP sleeps that is so fucking awesome? And it's their single deciderness. It's incredible. As a double decider, one of the biggest things that I have learned, not just this past year of the pandemic, but even in, like, the last 2 to 3 months, even in just making this video series, is, like, being a double decider is not always the right tool for the job. It just isn't. It's incredibly helpful when I'm trying to communicate with large groups of people. It helps when it comes to setting boundaries for myself and this and that. It helps, it helps in a lot of ways. But my God, I absolutely feel like I have a lot to learn when it comes to, I'm going to prioritize this person or me or something, and just making the thing about the people and being like, all right, we're locking it in. We're doing this thing over time. I'm going to put energy and effort into myself, another person, my family, my work family, my whatever it is, not the thing, not the career, not the no, the people. And really investing in that and betting on that. I mean, some really remarkable things happen. Now, the way to really continue that cycle of being able to feel really confident and not run yourself into the ground, I want to look at our buddy Wim Hof. So our buddy Wim Hof, he was typed in the class, ISFP, FINI, sleep, consume, play, blast, last. Okay. He's got some issues. Like, yes, he has bet on himself to an intense degree, but at the expense of, like, being there for his family. Which is why, as I was thinking about this, I was like, what do the IP lead sleeps really, really need to work on if they're going to maximize the sleep side of their personality? And I think it's the blast. The math says, well, if your lead and save your sleep, you should work on your play. And that's true to an extent, for sure. The DE component of play, absolutely critical for any IP, right? But the people who, when I'm looking at this doc, and the people who I'm like, that's who I want to be like. Those are the people that are kicking ass in the world in the way that resonates with me, that I think is really important and cool and meaningful. It's people like Sylvester Stallone. We got Seth MacFarlane is kicking ass for sure. Those are like my two big ones for a number of reasons. Ryan Gosling also, like, you cannot argue with the success that Ryan Gosling has had in life, for sure. And with all three of those guys, but particularly with Stallone and MacFarlane, it's their ability to blast. That really feels like their superpower. Because you get someone like Seth MacFarlane, right? So just go with him for a while, because he's lead consume, but he's doubling up on his savior sleep, play last, single activated, TE at the bottom of his function stack. Like, okay, and it's funny, even in MacFarlane's case, he's doubling up on his double masculine FI, masculine SI savior sleep. So this is a guy who is like in his most saviory state, super masculine, can't nobody tell me nothing kind of energy, with, low play with the tribe, low collaboration. He's done extraordinarily well for himself. The man is, I think I don't even know what the number is off the top of my head of just how much fucking money he made Fox. Like, I think he himself is worth like $500 million. Like, it's some genuinely obscene amount of money that this man is worth. And it's not that he like has learned how to do play super great. Because if you watch a lot of his shows, they're very similar in terms of the formula. It's like, these are the stock characters. Family Guy maps onto Cleveland Show, maps onto American Dad. Like, yes, there's some stuff that's different, but like mechanically, structurally, it's just the same shit, right? And like, he does a lot of the voices for it. The people that he enlists to do other voices are like, he doesn't enlist a lot of people. And even if you just think about Family Guy, the marquee voices are him. I adore Mila Kunis. Nobody ever whips out a Meg impression at a party, right? It's always Peter. It's always Peter. Or it's always Stewie, right? I don't know anymore if that's something that people do. at parties if people are proud of their Stewie Griffin impression. And also, like, he's also Brian, and I can't really do a Seth MacFarlane voice that well, but it's something like this. You can really hear the audio-ness in his, but that's just like him talking normally, right? So, like, he gave himself the best parts. Oh, also he does Quagmire. Like, he does all of the things, all of the voices that are cool to do, he did himself. Also, the person I'm about to mention, he has not been officially typed. Please, 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 please do not take this as an official typing. This is done from my own research. Lin-Manuel Miranda, I think he is very Seth MacFarlane-y. If they are not type twins, they are definitely in similar docs. Like, consume, sleep, mope on top of mope. Very, very low play. With Miranda in particular, just very low play. But, like, accomplishes a lot. So, as weird as this is going to sound, my advice to the lead sleep, savior sleep types, if you are an IP, it's not as much about play as you might think. It really is about the blast. Because if you can start to harness that blasty component, you'll get the tribe on board, and you're going to be calm with control and chaos anyway. So dipping into the chaotic side of play is not going to be the end of the world for you, right? But my God, I mean, if you can harness that blast, if you can sort of adopt the energy and mindset and presence of, like, a sleep blast IJ douchebag, oh my God. Oh my God. So, like, just watch Dave. Just watch Dave. And watch how, again, he's not an IP, but he is lead sleep. But he's super comfortable with the tribe, and, you know, he's an extraordinarily good communicator. And, you know, you can tie your blast to your savior OI, and, like, it's not that much of a leap. I really do recommend, regardless of what your animals and functions are, if you can be like, all right, sleep, I'm going to tackle blast first. I'm going to make working on my blast my priority. Now, the play will come, the consume will come, whatever it is, because you're already getting out there with the tribe, and you're holding yourself accountable to a standard outside of yourself. And regardless of how high or low that standard may be, it's only one person. And by getting these other perspectives, you'll be able to actually see, like, oh, you know what? I can step up my game a little bit. Or if you're like, holy shit, I don't need to go nearly that hard. They're satisfied with what I can produce given 30%, and their fucking mind is blown. Okay, great. And it's going to give you that extra little triangulation that will refine your sleep, harness your sleep, and it'll give you the energy to explore your other functions and animals while still letting you do the thing that you really want to do, which is just keep drilling deeper and deeper and deeper. You'll be able to spit out these little nuggets that will enable you, you know, and then people won't mind if you go into sort of a Cal Newport deep work, deep sleep kind of place. Because it's like, listen, whenever we need this person, like, they fucking deliver. As long as I say to them, hey, I need this thing by March 17th. On March 17th, before 5 p.m., it will be in my inbox, guaranteed. I don't have to worry about it, and it's going to be fucking brilliant. I don't have to do anything with it. Okay, great. Dope. So as long as you can commit to a little bit of blasting, that is going to open up a lot for you in terms of letting you do the lead sleep, savior sleep energy that you really want to do. All right, that's it. We made it. end of the series. Thank you so much for watching. I know this video went a little longer. I know I tried to keep them at 20 minutes. I just got very excited. And I wanted to talk, again, a little more holistically about the series and why being fucking awesome is a really important thing to latch onto and invest in, because I do think you're fucking awesome. If there is anything you want to see future series, again, I'm going to try to keep these videos now on the shorter side, 20, 30 minutes, hopefully closer to 20 if I can get my shit together. But let me know what you want in the comments below. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!